We're extremely excited. We have not done a Taboo Talks in quite a while. We also have the founder and CEO of Taboo Token, who's here on the call, James, and he's gonna start and kick things off as we, dial the intensity and as we have everybody get to hear the need to knows and gain even more perspective on our trajectories, what we're building, what we're doing, why you're here, and why you're in the right place. So, James, let's get moving.
Yeah, so I'd just like to start, guys. It's great to get on AMA with you guys. I know it's been a while now since Majid and I hosted one, and something we spoke about, I think only a couple of days ago, Majid and Paul, I'm sure you'll agree that we need to start making these, and doing these on a regular occurrence and not leave it so long. So, start to get back into that momentum, because obviously there are going to be, lots of new holders, lots of new faces around here. So that's something that, we are going to make sure is going to happen a lot more regularly moving forward. And also, to keep everybody well informed with what is going on internally and behind the scenes. So that is something that is going to happen. And we will start scheduling these in, to start bi-weekly. So that's something that will be happening moving forward imminently. So yeah, it's great to see some new faces on the call today too. Things have been moving along. We are getting a lot new holders in. So it's good to obviously keep them up to date with everything that's going on and to be able to get on a call with myself, Paul and Majid too. Any questions that you guys have got, we're here to answer all of them and get through as much as we possibly can today. And, as we do host these a lot more regularly, there hopefully won't be as many as what there essentially is today.
Yes, no, exactly. And I want to just jump in here and I want to share just a few key points. I want to share some of our perspectives on the team side and how Taboo is positioning itself for the short, mid, and long term. I will say one thing, to have a founder and to have people who have, been here from the very beginning, take time out of their days to be on this call, to talk directly to the community. I cannot say that major, large establishments or companies ever do that. There's always a degree of separation. There's always somebody in place that speaks on their behalf. And I want you to know that when James and I and the rest of the core team says that we're going to get out on the trenches, we're going to get onto the front lines, and we're going to make sure that we're there for all of you, not only answering your questions, but keeping you all informed on the front lines. I think that's a really great thing. And I think that speaks to the passion of the core team and the fact that we not only love what we do, but we also love to make sure that we continue to help our community grow, because without our community, I always say, we are nothing, right? Our community is the hinge and the foundation of Taboo. And without you, we wouldn't be here. So I commend you all for being here and for staying the course. And again, welcome to all the new members as well. I want to dive into a little bit of the mindset towards investing, because something that I've noticed, especially when, price starts to fluctuate, I start to see people's heart rate start to fluctuate with the price. I really hope we don't have any heart attacks here, because you know what, when you invest, there's always going to be risk in the form of fluctuations. The more fluctuations you have, the higher amount of risk and therefore the higher potential for gain or reward. But I want to dial it back a little bit, because I believe that the winners when it comes to investing and multiplying your assets are the ones that put their emotions out of investing and focus on time in and the fundamentals of companies. See, if you were to all own a property today, and every single hour you have a property assessor knocking on your door, showing you your new property value, you will most likely not only go insane, but you will tell them, leave me alone. But why are we all doing that with Taboo? Or at least some of us are, especially in the main chat. We are not a short-term play. We are not a pump and dump token. We are a value-based project that is continuing to build utilities. And I know that the value is going to catch up with the price. And we're here to stay the course. We've been here for 3-4 years already. When 99% of altcoins have ceased to exist, you're now a part of the top 1%, where a lot of extraneous variables have been removed for your investment. And we are going to stay and create this legacy business. But I urge you all, chill on the phone side, chill on the pricing side, put it aside. We all know the explosive potential of Taboo. And we are always cooking big things in the background. Some surprises James is going to share, and I'm going to share a little bit later today as well. To add to that, when it comes to market conditions, I think it's extremely important to manage our expectations. Just because Bitcoin is rising does not mean we are in a bull cycle. Currently, we are in a hypersensitive cycle. You can call it more bullish, but Bitcoin has not found its footing yet, and retail money is not flowing in just yet. So you are all in a privileged position to be here early and to be here with how undervalued our prices are. But as we see, and as you're learning through the news, as I hope you do stay informed on the cryptocurrency markets and the crypto sphere, you will see that more and more countries are adopting crypto, both as a payment method and as a viable investment vehicle in currency, as Bitcoin ETFs will show, as Ethereum ETFs are now on the way, and as we see more and more mass adoption, which is the theme of 2024's year for Taboo. Now, what I want to also add as well, moving forward too, is Taboo itself, I need you to know, is going to be here with or without you. Okay. We want you to be with us. We want you to stay the course. We want you to enjoy the ride as we get to our inevitable rise to the top. We are already leading our industry. We have had hit a previous all-time high of 600 million without a working product. And now we are becoming that serious utility play where we're going to not only get there, we're going to surpass it. But you are the only person that can get in your own way. And I really hope that you don't, because we are right on the cusp of an explosion. James and I talk about it all the time. We're like, we've been here before. Like, we've attempted it. We go up to 40 or 50 million, we drop down a little bit. We go back up, we drop down. It's almost like, if you're cooking some popcorn, you get the popping motion, up, down, up, down, up, down. Next thing you know, the lid pops, it overflows. And that overflow is going to be the financial wealth that you're going to create for you and your families, and you're going to change your lives so long as you stay here. So remember, time in the market.
Agreed. And Majid, just while you're on that
Yeah.
subject, something which I think is quite important to mention and just to highlight is that, we have been in this position before, like you quite rightly just said, back in 2021. And this time, we obviously in 2021, we learned a lot of things along the way. So, I would like to think that a lot of people on this call right now, would have are taking a deep look into what we are doing. So, for example, we want to make sure that we're a lot stronger this time round with fundamentals, in place, that as we are on our way up, we do have strong liquidity in place. So, just for example, now, if you were to look on, I don't know, Gate as an example, there's a huge amount of liquidity now on Gate. There's a huge amount of liquidity now on MEXC. Now, just on Gate, for example, within a 3-4% spread, there's $100,000 of buy pressure. Now, this is teeing us up. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out that top 10 exchanges, they want to see that. So this is something that we are implementing, something that we are putting in place. So our image and how we portray ourselves is ensuring that we are set up and we do have the strength, the fundamentals in place for when we list on this confirmed top 10 tier 1 exchange that is on its way, for when we do, start hitting the hundreds of millions of dollars of market cap again, that we can sustain that. Because I think it is really important that we do sustain that, and to make sure that we're there, and that we're there, with power and strength, which you could essentially argue didn't take place back in 2021. So that's something, that we are ensuring now with the new marketplace, with live streaming that's on the way, that Paul will delve into, very soon, that it's sustainable. And Majid, I think you'll be able to elaborate on that a lot more, because we do keep harping on about sustainability and how it's important that, this time round, we're a powerhouse.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know what? I would prefer, and again, going back to this analogy I had about our heart rates fluctuating with the fluctuations on our investments. I mean, realistically, what we're looking to do is we want parabolic growth, but the gradual growth where we're moving up in a stepwise fashion, but we stay at the higher market capitalizations and don't veer back down. Not only is that healthy, it's actually that's what creates sustainability. And sustainability comes from the fundamentals as well. And when we look at the fundamentals of Taboo, what team do you see out there right now that is being as proactive as Taboo's core team? We are pumping out news every single week to the point where I believe we are overdoing it at times, but it's our relentless pursuit to success and greatness that is causing us to do it. I tell you something, right? When you look at Taboo, you can confirm, and as James eloquently mentioned, we do have fundamentals in place. I mean, this is a project that already has high brand value. We have already created a proof of concept with our prior live event, acting as a blueprint, DNA blueprint for future events. We have already locked in our next mansion party. We already have existing products that we're now focusing on creating interest, traffic, and mass adoption of our native token on. We are an industry that sells, a fantasy oriented focused industry, might I add. And we do have a business model that is not only superior, but we are still a premium, classy brand that has that exclusivity factor where people can look at Taboo and say, we are in a class of our own. So the point I'm trying to make here is Taboo is continuing to build day in and day out, as James said, to become that powerhouse and to have that strength and virility to stay in those hundreds of millions of market capitalizations and to go beyond. And I think that the fundamentals are not only in place, but the strength is already there. We just need a little bit of market timing and a little bit of market luck as we create our own luck on this path in building this legacy business. Now, speaking further on the live streaming, which is a feature that is coming in addition to, we talked about mass adoption, the ability for people right now to buy Taboo with a click of a button with their credit card or bank card, to have their wallet set up with such simplicity and ease on site, to have the ability now to be able to stake automatically, which, by the way, we have automated staking in place now for the restakers and the new stakers, where it is completely automated, as well as for unstaking too. We are now in a position where, with our existing supermodel partners that have a loyal fan base of over 30 million people, we are getting very close to pulling the trigger on mass model marketing campaigns where we can say with certainty we can bridge that gap from Web 2 to Web 3. This is something that I think is revolutionary, and I think that no cryptocurrency has cracked the code on, but this has been a focus of James and I and the rest of the core team from the very beginning. We always said not only keep it simple, but if we can target the non-crypto minded investors and create a simple and effective bridge into Web3, we have cracked the code. The sky's the limit. And I believe we're super close.
Yeah, and also, Majid, just sorry to interrupt. That also brings us on, to how we used to mention, that the fans of our typical models, 98, 99% of them, I could almost guarantee, aren't, crypto-centric individuals. So, and we always said this back in 2021. It's a motto of mine, not just with Taboo, but with any business I do, or quite a lot in life, is just keep it simple. Because when you keep it simple, that's how things happen, and that's how deals get across the line, etc., etc. So it's something that I've said with Taboo in terms of the 99% of our model's fans. Let's keep it simple for them being able to buy Taboo, and that's something that all credit to Paul. He's implemented with the new marketplace, where people can set up wallets, where people can now buy Taboo at a click of a button with a credit card. So just think, when the mass marketing campaigns come in with, Jaylene Cook, Ivy Ferguson doing a live stream and promoting that and marketing that to their millions of followers that have to own and have to hold Taboo to be able to even watch and participate in that live stream. And that's something, Paul, that's something that Paul is going to elaborate on later, the features and benefits of the live streaming and the marketplace that's imminent. But just think to yourself, if that's being marketed to, let's say, 1 million fans of Ivy Ferguson, and just let's just say 1%, which is 10,000 people, want to tune into that live stream, and let's just say 10%, of that 10,000 people, which are 1,000 people that just decide to buy X amount of Taboo with their credit card just so they can tune in, because it's only going to be live streaming is only going to be for holders of Taboo. You're going to have to connect your wallet to the marketplace, and you're going to have to either stake or own Taboo to be able to participate in that live stream. So just that in itself, is going to increase our holders. And this time, we have made it simple. And I think, any individual can just simply buy Taboo and participate in that live stream, and that's something that we have really focused on this time round. And I think we're there. So just think forward for when that takes place. The holder count's going to increase dramatically. The amount of buy pressure for Taboo just to participate in the streams is going to increase dramatically. Not to talk about everything else in terms of one-on-one, tipping that Paul's going to dive into any minute now. That's without even going into that.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And just remember, everyone, this is all acting in conjunction with the traditional, typical Web3 crypto marketing, exposure, brand building, and awareness procedures, strategies, and motivations that we have on our side. So we are not, so this is actually acting as another funnel or flowing of buy pressure and traffic that in our minds is an even bigger market, but we still continue to do the basics. We are still going to continue to do the crypto marketing that we are so, I would say, masterful on. So you can see that we are diversifying how we run this business, but because we are a different beast now and we are a much bigger, more established company, we not only have a new set of challenges in place, but we also have a new way of doing things, and we're very adaptable to do those things. And this is one reason why, and I think now this would be a great time for Paul to now jump in. We've decided to push utility, utility, utility. So we can tell the world that we are a serious utility play, which we could not do back in 2021 because we did hit those highs without a working product. So, Paul, the floor is yours.
Yeah, perfect. Good timing, and James, thanks ever so much for not stealing too much of my part of the show. So, um, but look, I suppose, I mean, it's a perfect point to switch over from, though, from what James said, guys. Is I think one of the reasons that brought me into Taboo originally as well was the fact of understanding from a business from a business point of view. Taboo is doing something completely, or setting itself up, shall we say, to do something completely different to whatever anyone else has done, and that's utilize that model, base to advertise to their fans, right? You look at any other solution or service or platform out there, it's just go there and see nice women, yeah, granted, and they market in their own ways to bring their traffic, right? But utilizing models to actually market and bring traffic, considering those models have got combined in the millions and literally millions and millions of following, just really excites me. And it kind of actually makes sense now as to why, again, looking at, when did I join Taboo's core team? It was, or it was getting on for probably a year ago now. But before then, I was in the background of Taboo watching for years, and I always used to think, why is it not boom? Why is it not boom? It's because it's not ready. Why are you going to push those types of marketing campaigns with those models when you're not ready? It's just completely pointless. So yeah, perfect point to bring me over from. So thanks for that, and hello to everybody else. So yeah, thought I'd get that out of the way first. So yeah, updates to live streaming then. First of all, we've taken the decision to do to benefit everybody, I suppose. So we're going to have public and private rooms go out, which is going to be fantastic. And as James quite rightly said, everyone's going to have to require to hold Taboo to be able to to jump onto public streams, which I think is a great thing. I mean, again, yeah, 1% of a million, 10,000 people, instant holders, instant wallet creations, instant holding Taboo. Again, further details, of course, we're going to release with regards to how much Taboo you need to hold to get that. But look, we're going to make it reasonable. Of course, we are. Definitely, it's a public room. Private rooms, of course, you're going to have to purchase slots to basically go one on one, nice and intimate with the models. Don't be getting carried away. It's not going to be a pornography show, but it will be model discretion. So that's all I'll say. And obviously, you can
Yeah,
be
but
tipping.
you never know. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, model discretion, and you can tip into Boo. I think it's the perfect combination that sums it up nicely.
Exactly.
Um, um, I think you know I think one thing to say as well is, of course, models are going to be earning from this. And again, this ties back in nicely to what I opened with. The fact that models are going to be earning, out of tips and private bookings for shows as well, just kind of sums it up as to why they're going to want to push it themselves. So, and not only the great marketing plan that we're all going to see and witness, that James and Majid push, we're going to see that come to fruition, and with the models marketing as well going on to that. It's going to be absolutely explosive, 100%. So, um, I don't want to go into too much about the live streaming features. Obviously, we want to keep releasing it as we get closer and closer. But I definitely wanted to drop the fact that it's going to be public and private room, which is good news for everyone on the call. I think, most definitely.
Yeah, and Paul, just while we're on the subject, something which would be quite nice. Could you give us some sort of timescales? I know we've spoken about it internally, but and I know that we're sort of all trying to push for this sooner rather than later. But
Of
what are we talking
course.
here?
Of course. So obviously, look, we announced it when we first announced about well, I think more recently than that, wasn't it? We announced with regards to who we've partnered up with for this technology. So we are utilizing a third party. It's not something we're building in-house from the ground up ourselves. We are outsourcing the tech, but again, it's with the biggest player in the market, right? So we're very confident with regards to that. But I think in terms of to answer your timescales, look, my birthday's middle of June, so I'm certainly pushing for then. So if you want to hold me to a date, you can hold me to the middle of June. And obviously any time before that is going to be an absolute nice little bonus coming off the back of it, 100%. But yeah, I think that's a good time to aim for. I think again the technology that the technology partner that we're partnering up with, I think is phenomenal, and I think it's all excitement and go for us behind the scenes here.
No, excellent, fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's going to be a real uh, great thing for Taboo to have to its bow. I mean, when that's live, the sky's the limit for us, especially with all of our partnered models. And I think it doesn't take a rocket scientist, folks, to understand that we are on a model recruitment campaign. Why do you think that is? So obviously we have an array of models that are going to be live streaming, that are going to be earning residual income, as Paul just mentioned. Therefore they're going to want to then be promoting it to their fan base. So it all makes sense. Everything we're doing all ties up and all makes sense. So it's something that we are going to push. This is essentially the core of our business. And we are going to maximize that potential and absolutely make the most of it. That you can be sure of. So all of our ducks are in a row. And we are going to maximize the potential, as I just said. So it's coming and it's happening. So Paul, I think it would move us on quite nicely to another development within the marketplace, the merch store, which also has been something that we've been speaking about, quite often, that is also just around the corner. Agreed?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously it's going to be live streaming first, and then the store. Obviously, we know that from the internal discussions that we've all had, with regards to priority right now and what everybody wants. But it's literally, I mean, we're talking imminently after. Of course, we're going to have all these new eyes coming onto Taboo from the live streaming features. So, it would kind of be silly not to have the store done and dusted, right after. So, yeah, the store's the real a really exciting part that we're going to be working on, and that we're going to be getting rolled out. Obviously lots of things happening behind the scenes to make sure that it is rolled out right after that as well. So that's definitely good. And obviously the product list is great, as we all know from what we've seen before from the little drops that we've had go out. So
Perfect. Majid, and I think that is actually a good time for us to swiftly move on to talk about some of the marketing that we have, and that is that we have pushed the button on, and that is going to commence and has already commenced actually for the launch of live streaming and everything else that comes with it.
Yeah, and I think it's not only a good segue, but I think it's great to highlight what I feel at least is an important differentiator when it comes to marketing of products, marketing of cryptocurrencies, and just being able to get the name out there. See, something that I've experienced and what I've noticed as well, and something that I believe Taboo does a phenomenal job on is we push marketing at all times on the grassroots level and on the higher echelon levels as well. And the reason we do that is because we understand that if you have a plate of gold, if people don't at least know that there is a plate of gold there for them to make a decision on whether they want it or not, then nothing gets gained out of that. So this is one of the reasons why, as you all can see, we are constantly marketing irrespective of the market conditions, because we know that the more we do it and the more exposure that we gain, we also know human nature and what happens the moment Taboo pumps 100%, 200%, 300%. All those veering eyes that are on the sidelines are going to start to say, uh-oh, FOMO time. I don't want to miss the Taboo train, and they want to jump in and they want to follow the hot and trendy play that we are. But to answer your question, James, on this, what we can say and what we can confirm, we all spoke about, we did make an announcement on this at one point on Altcoin Daily. They are one of we call them part of the holy trinity of crypto influencers, you can call them. And they have a following base of close to 3 million subscribers on their YouTube channel. We can confirm that hopefully at next week is what the timeline is. There will be a release of a special interview with myself. I will be on there with them. They not only love our project, they want to be able to have a podcast style conversation with the Taboo team. And, we feel that is extremely bullish, and we saw this as an opportunity that we could not miss. And so we graciously accepted this request from them. And there is going to be an interview where Altcoin Daily will be publishing an interview of the Taboo team speaking to them in a podcast format to their 2.5 million followers. So this is coming next week. Now, to add to that, there is a new listing coming, and James, I would love if you can share a little bit more on this. I'm sort of on the stage that we're at on this as well.
Yeah, sure, absolutely fine. Okay, guys, so there is something, this is in addition to the confirmed tier 1 exchange that is also coming. Majid, I'll let you, dive into the full fundamentals and details of it. But I don't want to say too much, because right now we are in a due diligence phase, and I can almost guarantee the due diligence will be absolutely fine. We will know over the next several days. But this potential listing that will be happening this month is very special for us, because where they sort of sit and how they position themselves is very unique. So Majid, you can elaborate on that, on why it's unique and how they do position themselves, without trying to give too much away of who it could be or what it is exactly they do. But for example, this particular listing has how can I put it, has a sort of user base, and it's so exclusive and so selective on the projects that they do list, that their user base of the millions, a very high percentage of them will all be acquiring and purchasing Taboo off the back of this listing. I think that's the best way to put it, Majid. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. You know, this is a listing that has a loyal base in the millions, where due to their due diligence process, which is quite lengthy in terms of time, you know, there is a strict screening process for the projects that do or do not get listed. But because this listing platform is so highly trusted with this user base, they will, as James said, most likely the majority of them be buying Taboo to add to their existing portfolio of crypto assets. And I think that this is something that is extremely exciting because in the blink of an eye, a listing can gain a brand new population of people that know Taboo, hear about Taboo, and have the ability to access buying Taboo. This is one of the reasons why the Taboo core team is extremely fixated on exchange listings. Now, you may be wondering, where are our next exchange listings? Well, we do have an already confirmed tier one exchange that is coming, but we are in a position now where we stand now where we need to make sure that the exchanges that we list on will benefit Taboo more than Taboo benefits them. You know, a lot of the times, and James and I do deal with this in our negotiations and our deliberations with various exchanges, we get a sense that they need us more than we need them. And we feel that the value proposition is one sided. So, yes, we do want to list on more and more exchanges. We need to allow people the ability to access that. We do have a tier one exchange on the way, and we are constantly looking at new listings. And we feel that this next one, which, knock on wood, we believe that the due diligence is near the end and we should have a positive result. We have high hopes for this, and we believe that it will generate the most impact that we've seen from any listing ever. Would you agree, James? I think it will. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, look, just as an example, obviously, Majid and I, before we make decisions, we do our due diligence too. So we look at the projects that they list, for example, and we see the impact that it has. But we don't just look at the impact it has, you know, a week before the listing or the day it lists. We also look at the impact it has after the listing, because that's essentially part of everybody's job, right? So these are things that we've learned, you know, because we are slightly longer in the tooth now than what we were before back in 2021. The impacts it has, it's good. It's sensational. Like Majid just quite rightly said, it would be, you know, if we were to, in my opinion, we should outperform the projects that they've listed to date, because we are unique, and you know our proposition, it sells. You know, sex sells. You can't get away from that, right? And this is something that we've always said. You know, just a project that they listed yesterday, for example, the volume on that particular project went up around 800-900%, and the project itself, in terms of market cap, went up significantly. So you know, this is something we look at. It will have a big impact, and I think we'll have a bigger impact because, you know, Majid and I, we do know what we're doing when it comes to being able to market this and make the most out of this particular listing. And rest assured that that is something that, you know, we will do. And just while we're on the subject, that we are, you know, longer in the tooth. And that is why, you know, going on to what Majid said, that, you know, it's not just about, you know, it being a benefit for the exchange, them listing us. That's why now we are more selective than what we were before. I am not in a position, and I will not, you know, start providing tokens to the exchanges for listing us, because what we found out and what, you know, we've learned through, you know, listing on multiple exchanges is that it does have an adverse effect. It comes back to bite you in the arse. You know, it does. When you give away the tokens to list on there, you know what's going to happen to those tokens as soon as you've listed. They're essentially going to get sold, right? And that's something that we have learned. That's something now that, you know, we don't do. We have done it in the past. We have learned the hard way. And, you know, we've established that that isn't for us. So now, you know, when we do list on exchanges, we also don't want our liquidity spread amongst, you know, 10, 20,
Correct.
30 small little exchanges. How does that benefit anybody? What we would like is a large amount of liquidity spread across, 3 or 4 top 10 exchanges. That's where we can see real value at the stage we are of our business and this business, and that's what we believe, and what we speak about regularly is what will be the best for Taboo, and that's what we believe will be, and that's what something that we are ensuring, and we are, having talks around that regularly, making sure it does happen, and will happen.
Yeah, exactly. And this all stems and all comes down to, as we've alluded to before, Taboo's in a different beast now. We are a much more evolved project, and not only are we adaptive, but the decisions that we make are in nature are much different than they would have been back in 2021. But we have those data points. We know what works, we know what doesn't, and we believe this next listing will be a valuable asset to Taboo and a great strategic move for Taboo. On the topic of marketing, though, as we mentioned, there are mass marketing campaigns that are coming. We have a press release campaign that we're preparing in the background as well. We have media, outlets that are reaching out to us. The moment I actually put out that live streaming announcement, we had media, outlets knocking on our doors saying, "Would you like to do a campaign? We'd love to write an article on you," as they always do. Again, we have a top 10, top tier one exchange that is coming on the way. There is a newer listing as well that we're going to be weaving in strategically in if the due diligence works out the way we'd like, which we feel it will. Live streaming is about to be on the way. And as Paul alluded, in weeks time, we're not talking about months, we're talking just weeks as well. And with that being said, when it comes to marketing as well, James and I are consistently looking at ways in which we can drive impact on Taboo. So that is always happening in the background, but we have a lot that is coming. And if you look at the roadmap, you will see that we are checking off quite a few of our boxes. Again, roadmaps are meant to be guidelines. They're not meant to be set in stone, but there is a lot to look forward to this year. I believe our roadmap plans are not only ambitious but also achievable as well. So we are looking to hit those milestones. We are looking to gain new listings. We do have mass marketing campaigns coming. Altcoin Daily is coming. We have surprise listings that are on the way. We have a top 10 exchange that is coming. More utilities, we have more exposure building that we're doing. We have development of our products happening in the background at all times. Our holder count is rising. Our mansion event is now locked in, which you will see big promotional campaigns on. We have a lot higher number, sheer volume of tier 4 holders now. So we do hope to see all of you there. James has mentioned this before. This is a great place to not only meet and greet our supermodel partners and have a week to remember and keep that in your memory bank. It is a life-changing experience, but it is a great place to network. A lot of people conducted a lot of business there as well, and it was really, really good on a networking basis as well to meet these people that are able to be tier 4 holders. So remember that this is coming. We've developed a blueprint. Our next mansion event is happening in November. James and my birthday is in that month, so we decided that it's going to be in the month where our birthday is, and so we can celebrate our birthdays at the same time as the mansion event is being conducted. So we hope to see you there. Again, please remember to set aside your emotions. Remember that this is an asset that you own, like your property. Do not have your emotions rise and fall with the price of Taboo. Value always catches up with price. And, we're really, really happy to have you all on this call. And, I think this is really a good time moving forward now. As we've alluded to before, we will continue to have more and more of these Taboo talks, informational updates on a bi-weekly basis, as James said. We would really love to hear from you now. Anyone that has anything to ask, please do. If you're thinking it, someone else is. So let's open up the floor now to questions, either in the chat or on the call now.
Yeah, and I also think it's important, guys, for you all to try and get involved as much as you can, because like I've always said, ultimately myself, Majid, Paul, Rich, and everybody else, we ultimately work for you, right? So, we like to hear your feedback. We like to have your input. We like to hear, the questions that you may ask, tell us what you think we could essentially improve on, what we could be doing better, or what we did is great. Let's do more of this. Because we are here for the community. And, the day you say I know is the day you stop learning, right? So, we're constantly adapting and moving with the times. Please, let's have as much input from you guys as we can. We're a business. We're here to run the business successfully. It is a success, and now we're going to really push in a big way. So we'd like to have as much feedback from you guys as we possibly can.
Yeah, and I think this is a great segue as well. I just see that Rich has just popped in. Rich, if you don't mind, feel free to share a few words. And I believe you may have had some community members. We can kick our Q&A session off this way, where some community members have directed questions to you. You can maybe open the floor and share them, and then James and I and Paul can also answer.
Yeah, sure. And first, I would like to apologise for being a bit late onto the call. I had something urgent that popped up there. So, as I'm sure everyone knows, I'd love to have been part of the beginning of the call, but I just got held up there. So, it sounds like some great stuff's been discussed. And from some of the questions, and again, thanks for those of you who've taken the time to put your questions forwards. But some of these may have already been brought up. So I'm just going to go over what they are. There's talk about the marketing campaigns and the state of the marketing campaigns, as in, what's the projection? I know from looking at all of the activity through social media and across all of the social channels, it seems to have been ramped up very much over the last 4, 6, maybe even 8 weeks now. So the question from one of the community members is that continuing?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to marketing and marketing campaigns, this is not a click of a button, it starts, and then turning on and off a light in a room. It is ongoing, but we also, depending on the kind of triggers and catalysts that we have, will either ramp up or will ramp down. But there's always continuous marketing happening. So yes, there are marketing campaigns going on. And the reason we continue to do this is very simply, we know it takes an average of 7 times for someone to see something before they buy it. Just like any of you who are consumers, you may walk by a shop or a store, you see something new that you've never, something shiny that distracts you, and you say, "Oh, this is cool. I want to keep that in mind." Now we're paying Taboo on the forefront of their minds. So we're aware of the importance of marketing. We continue to do marketing at all times, and we've already spoken about this mass model marketing campaign that is on the way and is happening imminently for the launch of our live streaming feature as well. So yes.
Something, Majid, you just quite rightly said. It's about triggers and catalysts. As we feel we start to ramp up marketing, means we obviously have some triggers and catalysts. So just to keep you guys informed, right now we have some massive triggers and catalysts. So therefore, what that means is you're going to see a huge ramp up in marketing for this potential listing this month, for live streaming, and for the tier 1 confirmed centralized exchange. So you're about to see a massive wave now of incoming marketing. Like Majid has mentioned on the call, the dedicated interview that we've been invited on by Altcoin Daily that will be going live over the next several days. You're going to see some huge, monstrous KOLs and some massive influencers that we've partnered with that have taken, that have a massive soft spot for Taboo, and they love what we're doing. You're going to start seeing some new ones coming on board. You're going to see them starting to push us in a big way for this special listing this month, and obviously for the live streaming. But also you're going to see the partnered models. Their marketing is going to go through the roof, purely, solely laser focused on the live streaming that each model is going to be doing for their loyal fan base, and obviously for you guys. And as we mentioned, that you do need to be a Taboo holder to be able to participate in that. We can see, you know, something very special there going to take off, you know, when we do push the button on that.
I've got one here. So, because there is a question here about live streaming. It's been discussed clearly on this call before. I'm not exaggerating when I say that probably 50% of the messages that I get sent from community members is about their excitement for live streaming and their anticipation for it. Not necessarily just as an end user, but actually in terms of what it means for Taboo through the payments and through the models, how they're going to naturally become so much more engaged and so much more almost like brand ambassadors for Taboo because they've got this vested interest, right? Because suddenly there's a monetization aspect from the models. So I guess my question is really about, the discussions have clearly been had with these models. How are they feeling about it? What's their appetite for for this launch or for the live streaming? Is there any anticipation? Is there any I don't know, nervousness? And I don't know. I'm quite interested to know how the models are feeling about this upcoming launch, because it's a big thing for Taboo.
Go on, Paul. You can answer this one, Paul. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So from the conversations I've been having, I mean, of course they're excited, right? It's another revenue stream, for them. But equally as important, they're excited to connect with their fans, from a public point of view, but I suppose more importantly, the intimate point of view through the one-to-one, get to know the fans a bit more and understand what they want to see more as well. So, I think from speaking to them, yeah, they're definitely motivated about that. With regards to how it's going to work internally, yes, of course, you need to own Taboo to even watch a stream. You need to own Taboo to, of course, be able to tip the models as well. And of course, both of those tipping features are going to be available in both the public and the private streams as well. So, I think that answers your question in a long and short way there, Rich. I don't know if there's anything else I missed or you wanted me to add to it.
No,
yeah, and I think also, just Rich, while you're on the subject, I think something which is quite good to elaborate on is essentially the monetization part, right? Which I think can be something super bullish for the models, for Taboo, and also for all of its holders. So something that we have spoken about internally is, when the tipping take place, I'm not going to start talking numbers, but when tippings take place or when one-on-one live streamings take place, the models earn from that. Obviously, Taboo is going to charge the model, or is going to take a cut of that, right? And something that we've spoken about internally is doing regular burns. Majid, you can actually elaborate on that, because you're super for doing regular burns. You want to do a lot of burns. So can you elaborate on that a little bit? Because you're always pushing that case forward. So it'd be quite good for you to argue your case there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, what I'm gonna mention, and I think it comes down to, reminding ourselves on what Taboo really is. I mean, we are a media and streaming platform. Yes, we have partnered supermodels. Yes, we have a marketplace that offers NFTs, and live streaming is coming, and we have live events and all of that. But we are a creator first platform as well, right? And we do want to ensure that we are creating revenue and monetization streams for our models, right? So even though let's say tipping occurs in Taboo, I mean, when it comes to the merch store that's coming, you will start to see as well that there is more and more revenue and monetization strategies that are going to be coming in for our model partners. They're going to be able to sell particular branded products to their fans. They're going to be able to, we are even going to be creating a tiering structure and system where the models will earn more as they reach higher tiers, much like we have a tiering system for our holders as well. So we are a creator first platform. We want to ensure that as much revenue as possible is going towards our models, because, hey, there's no better incentive than making money, and we understand that. And we do believe that the models are going to earn enough money to be interested to stay on the live streaming as the next feature ad that is coming. But to answer the question on burns as well, we all know the importance of burns. We are burning 1% per transaction on every buy and every sell. what James and I have discussed and what we think feature ad as well is to create a burn protocol within our live streaming platform. Meaning, when it comes to tips, the models are going to earn their cut, and what the Taboo company will earn as a percentage of that, which will never be a majority of that, of the model will always earn the majority. We are going to burn those tokens. They will continuously burn. And as we continue to add more marketplace utilities, as we continue to add utilities with our metaverse, when it comes to having, in-game assets within our metaverse, which we are going to be having, where people are going to be buying Taboo or spending Taboo and all of that, we're going to implement more and more burn protocols, because we know as we burn more, there's going to be less and less or more scarce amounts of Taboo tokens, and in theory, the valuation will continue to go up. So this, I know, will appease and excite crypto-minded communities, and just know that burn protocols are going to be coming, and we will be also creating some forms of quarterly burn events, which James and I are in deliberations on as well.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. So, the live streaming for us is a massive, massive catalyst. It is something we are going to push. And, when it's live, there's absolutely no stopping us as far as I'm concerned. We can continuously recruit new models. We can continuously get those models to be marketing this to their, fan base. And look, while we're on the subject of models, because this is something that's also regularly spoken about. Our existing models, they do have a large following. They are proven in their own right. They are established. And something that we have spoken about, I think actually Paul and we spoke about this a bit of time ago now. We are going to launch, a part of the business where we are going to bring on, young, new, rising stars that we are going to sort of introduce to our community, that we can bring up through the ranks, that we can help take on this new career that they envisage, that Chloe's going to be a massive part of, being our brand ambassador. And you will start to see these models flow into the Taboo ecosystem. They will be attending the Taboo the annual Taboo Mansion events, where you'll be able to get to meet them. And the amount of applications that we're getting, you'll be shocked at the amount. I actually had a call just recently. Sorry, yeah, go on, carry on.
No, I was just gonna add to it, James. Imagine building a relationship with the model over private one-on-one live streams, tipping, and then meeting them at the mansion party. That'd be
very nice. Yeah, exactly. Very, very nice.
just to chuck it in.
Yeah, and something that I only spoke about just to Chloe about only recently, was the amount of applications and messages and direct messages that she gets on her social medias for people and up and coming stars that want to be part of the Taboo ecosystem and that want to give it a shot. We're going to sort of run like an audition process where Chloe will go, and she'll select a handful of these ladies that want to be partners of Taboo, and we will invite them to the mansion events. They will be in attendance, and we will start doing photo shoots and putting them on the stage, and putting them in the public eye and making something of them. And this is also good for us, so we do have that fresh blood coming through the ranks. And actually there'll become a stage where we can start making superstars from these models, just like Playboy did, for example. And we will have a whole new umbrella, a whole new arm under the Taboo umbrella of this fresh young rising talent. Majid, you can elaborate on it too. We've spoken about this numerous times, and it's something that we will be implementing at the new mansion event, and you will start seeing some new models that aren't as established as the existing ones, but I think in the long term will have a really good impact.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, You can already see, we've already released close. I think it's been 6. We have another one that's already coming in the pipeline, which we haven't announced just yet, which will make it 7. There's been 6 new model partner announcements that have come in over the last 3 weeks. You can see that they are on the younger, fresher talent side. Maybe they don't have as big of a following. Just remember, this was intentional because we are diversifying our model pool of talent base. These ladies are coming to our next mansion party, but just know that within the Taboo ecosystem, yes, we are not only bringing more fresh blood, but we are going to leverage off of the existing Taboo platform that we have and the high brand value that we have in order to develop and advance their careers. So Taboo will become, and already is in the process of becoming, that central hub for supermodels or ladies that want to make a name for themselves. They are going to be able to tap into Taboo. And I think it was great what James said, because I noticed this as well, and I've seen it firsthand. There are daily DMs that we're getting on our Instagram profile, and Chloe as well. It is extremely true. But because we are an exclusive type brand, we do still have a screening process right now. But what I will say is this: James and I are constantly in conversations about how we can delicately create the mass adoption on Taboo without impacting that premium, classy feel that Taboo is, for the fact that we have a gatekeeping, where we have a gatekeeper to, let's say, our premium content, to, let's say, our mansion parties, to everything else that Taboo has for you to enter the world of Taboo. So remember, we're constantly evolving Taboo, and we're always looking to make adjustments depending on what we feel will work or not work at that time. So stay tuned for more on that as well. So
No, exciting. Yeah, super exciting times. Rich, can I hand it over to you for any more questions that you have that we need to visit?
Yeah, sure. There was, I was just literally scrolling through and having a look at some of the other ones that came through. There was some questions around the punks, and do you know what? When I first joined the group and joined Taboo, and that was one of the things that really drew me in. I think was looking at the Taboo punks and really how they were used. There was a lot of hype around them at the time. It's no secret that they've kind of sort of fallen and sort of gone to the back burner recently. But actually, there's still a massive case to go, you know what, there's something in this. It's a really interesting idea to be able to use these punks for utility, and whether it's accessing areas of the website or having some sort of benefits towards the store or live streaming. There's endless amounts of benefits to these punks. So one of the questions was, and I was trying to find the exact how it was phrased, but a community member was asking, is there a plan around punks? How do we see them playing out in the future? What's the vision?
Yeah, with the Taboo punks, I mean, I tell you, we had, number of years ago, a couple of years back, the Taboo punks, they were a colossal success. We did drive a high amount of sales with the Taboo punks. I believe the artwork on the Taboo punks was top of the line. I also feel that the utilities that we had in place for them were also top of the line. But of course, when the bear market hit, and I'll keep it candid with all of you, the NFT market got hit harder. So it became, on a team basis, how do we prioritize our resources as well as our objectives? What leans more as more important? What leans more as less important? So the Taboo punks, while they weren't eliminated from our plans, they took a bit of a back seat. Now, where they are going to be revived and revitalized will be when our metaverse is released, because there will be outstanding utilities on the Taboo punks for within our Tabooverse. And as well, there will be utility connections and bridges with our merchandise store as well. So we are already keeping in mind what we will do with the Taboo punks. All we need to do is ignite a flame at the right time, and they are going to pop off again. I mean, we did hit some quite high, I would say, floor prices for the Taboo Punks. But just know, everyone who owns a Taboo Punk or owns multiple Taboo Punks, is they do and they will be fitting into our grand plans. Just bear with us, give us some time. This is the most candid answer that I can give you, because we are in the middle of releasing some key utilities such as our live streaming. We are getting released on some top exchanges imminently as well. And we are focusing on other branches of the Taboo company, but the Taboo Punks have not been ignored. They've just been taken a back seat, and they are very close to being revived again, especially with our metaverse coming up, our merch store coming up, and some of what we're aiming to do on digital NFTs, which is part of our roadmap, connecting the virtual world with the physical world as well. So our Taboo Punks are going to have a placeholder in that as well. So stay tuned. On my side, I will be creating updates on the Taboo Punks later this year. So they are in our plans. We just have to make sure we hit some other objectives and roadmaps as well. So and parts of our roadmap as well.
Exactly. And they do have, even now, they still have some great utilities, such as you hold one, it opens all, accesses all areas on the marketplace, in terms of the content of the models and the NFTs, and it's also resources, so and everything, I think, also, Majid, boils down to timing, right?
Exactly.
So, like you just quite rightly said, what got hit the hardest were obviously NFTs. They haven't fallen by the wayside, and they're still, in our minds, at the forefront of a lot of what we do. It's just about making sure it's right, making sure it fits with everything we are looking to do, and the direction that we're looking to take the business. And believe you me, we sold 9,000 of them, I think. They are still, right at the forefront of everything we do. We will give them a lot of utility. They do have utility, and we will start pushing them again.
Yeah, I mean, and just to give some sort of, I suppose, imaginary visuals on this. I mean, look, just imagine the metaverse is out. Let's say that you own, a plot of land in the Taboo mansion, which is the building you want to be owning, land, and you have your Taboo Punk that happens to be a virtual companion for you within our metaverse. Or we decide we want to have an AMA, but we are going to have our AMA within our metaverse, where we're all going to have our Taboo Punks that we own act as our personal companions or plus ones coming with us to watch that. There's a lot of possibilities that we are thinking about on what we're going to do with the Taboo Punks. Just bear with us. As James said, it's all about timing.
Brilliant. Short, is it short? Yeah, Sean sent a message. I haven't seen you in the group, so welcome if you are a member. But I know we posted some photos of some of the items that could be available in the merch store upon the launch. But Sean was asking, what's the merch store and what could be purchased from that? It might be one for you, Paul. Actually, I know you've been working quite closely on that. But are there any particular items that community members would be able to purchase? What can people get excited about?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's going to be a whole array of items listed on that store shop front, really. A lot of kind of apparel is going to be listed. You're going to get other kind of, other items that you can get. For example, the whiskey decanters and so on and so forth. We've even got some, luxury gowns that you're going to be able to get on there as well. If you're into your golf, there's going to be golf memorabilia on there as well. Obviously we do the poker events. There's going to be some poker bits on there. We're quite open to what we list as well. If we're honest, if you keep the suggestions coming in as to what you want to see on that store, and we'll see what we can do. But I think the biggest thing with it is the quality, right? We've made sure that we've partnered up with a very well-known brand. Well, I say a well-known brand, actually. No, the brands they work with are very well-known brands. They're certainly industry leaders in what they do. They do everything ethically as well, which is good. It's got all the environmental stamps on it as well, so it looks great. When the community are going to come on and see things that they want to purchase. But yeah, I mean, again, I think as we run up to the launch of the store, perhaps that's something that we can start doing again for everyone. Dropping announcements of items that were going to be available on that store, and start kind of getting people motivated for it, and things like that as well. So.
Brilliant. And for me, when I first heard about the store and again how it was going to be used, and again just how it's an amazing another layer to what Taboo has as an overall offering, the thing that I guess really got my interest was, if you can imagine the models being sent, branded items, stick it up with and lay it up with Taboo, for some of their own social media, and as they can start doing their live streaming, but with Taboo branding. There's definitely going to be a market for people who see their online content and go, oh, that's a great, like you said, dressing gown or snapback, or maybe some golf, some golf club covers and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? It's just going to add this extra element of actually feeling a bit more of a personal connection, I guess, to the person that you're going to be meeting, and that connection can only grow.
100%.
So.
And again, Rich, it's another method of the models being able to bring more brand awareness, isn't it, via their the ranges that they're going to have. Obviously we're doing the models of the month. I mean, that's a question to the community: who's noticed the model of the month changing on the new marketplace, right? Sorry, one thing that we said that we wanted to get done and made sure that happened was the content was regularly changed and updated and fresh, and kept fresh, and that's certainly something that's happened. To keep updating the model of the month. So coming back to that store, it's that's how the model of the months are going to promote their items. Throughout their model of the month, it's going to be their time. They've got that window to really push it. So.
Good. Okay, I'm just conscious of time there. That's all the questions and things that I've been sent. So thank you for everyone who took the time to be able to put something forwards, and hopefully we got your questions answered.
I think another thing we could probably announce now is the date for the next holders only tournament. So if you're on the call right now, there you go. You can jump in and get the first seat in. So we're going to be doing the next holders only poker tournament. It's going to be next Sunday. I think it's the 26th, isn't it? Is that right? 26th.
Yep,
Yes,
26th.
26th
Yep.
of May. That's right. 4:00 UTC again. $100 minimum held of Taboo. Up top, 250,000 Taboo tokens, and then we got 100K and 50K for second and third.
Paul, I might have to join, but I don't want to, I don't
know what
wanna...
you should, James.
I'll never hear the last of it if I end up winning.
You're just going to wait and be on the final one, aren't you? That's it. Yeah. It's. I mean, look, it's a great one. I mean, look, the tokens. What a thing to win. Those tokens. I mean, with Taboo lined up for what it's going to do when the live streaming store and all the utility gets completed, and these mega marketing campaigns get unleashed. What those tokens could turn into is it's very generous of you, James, for putting them on the table. But more importantly, I think it's the points for the holders only tournaments, right? I mean, who's excited about that? Especially if you're not a tier 4 holder, that's certainly one way you could get a chance to come to the mansion party. 10 tournaments over the next few months. I think what we got left, I think 7. So this will be the 7th one. No, sorry, this will be the 3rd one. 4th one. Sorry, let me get my maths right. This is the 4th one, so we got 6 left. So there's plenty of chance to get those points up to be at the final. So we're going to do an 8-player final. Probably we're going to try and aim to do it a couple of months prior to the mansion party. So if you do win the ticket, you've got a couple of months to prep and plan and stuff like that. But that's definitely exciting. So that's this Sunday, 4:00. Head to taboo.io. So that's the website. You've got a poker section on there. Click to show your registration on there as well. Follow the steps. And we'll see you on Sunday. But I'm gonna leave that with everyone.
And even if you've got no interest in poker, just so you know, every time we run these tournaments, and whether they're holders only or the ones that are just free roll and open to the public, we're always seeing new faces. We open up the what do you call it, chat room? Is that what it's called? I don't know. But an area where you can sort of jump in and have a discussion with us, and we're starting to meet some of the community members through that. But also, we're finding that there's people who are just turning up and being referred from friends or people they play poker with. It's really helping to build another part of Taboo. And remember, this is only something that we've been really sort of pushing properly for the last 3 or 4 months or so. But I actually feel like as we start developing the system, making it look more and more professional, hopefully getting some of the models involved as well, it's only going to gather more and more pace. It's going to bring more and more attention and eyes towards what we're doing. And again, just one more layer to what's going on.
Yeah, no, thank you everyone for that. I think I love that. I love the community engagement initiatives that we're doing, especially with the poker events. I think that's a great way to bring the community together. You have the opportunity to also, win valuable Taboo tokens, which we know based on the price point we're at. And as I mentioned before, value always catches up with price. Focus on the fundamentals. We are not only extremely undervalued, but we are in a place right now where I think if people want to dollar cost average, if they're looking to enter now, if they're looking to maybe buy in or add to their stack, there has never been a better time, especially in light of what news we have shared, the triggers, the catalysts that are coming, our mass model marketing campaigns that are here, our tier one exchange listing that is also on the way, the surprise listing that we spoke about, the mansion party locked in, merch store coming. There's so much that is happening on a day-to-day basis with Taboo that I think this price is not only a steal, but I think it is a great opportunity for people to buy in. Now, I want to share something before we end off, and I think this is extremely important. And I want to just hammer this home because I think bluntness is also important too. Taboo is going to be here with or without you. We're here to build a legacy business and that stands the generational test of time. We have already been around over 3 years. We have stood many tests, including navigating both bear and bull markets. We're still here now and we are still thriving, and we're here to win, and we're here to stay the course, and we are in an industry that does sell, and we are pioneering our crypto adult industry, and we are that premium brand where we have no competition, and we're constantly pumping out news after news after news, and we are not giving up on our relentless pursuit to become a top 100 and top 10 crypto. This is the team that is in place now. The vision that we have goes beyond many of your comprehensions. The team is staying the course and we are devoted to this cause. And that is more than I can say for 99% of cryptos. The moment the market goes south, everyone hangs up their boots and stops working. We work 10 times harder. James, I'm sure you can agree on that. When the markets go down, we work 10 times harder. When the markets go up, we work 100 times harder. So we're constantly working to grow your investments. And we know that Taboo has all the ingredients to explode, and it's going to happen at some point. We just want to make sure you're there for the ride. And I hope you are there for the ride because we know what Taboo did before, and we are in a much better place now. So again, value always catches up with price. But on the topic of price, because Taboo is a long-term investment for you all, please don't pay attention to it too much. Honestly, please, because at the end of the day, you don't make money until you sell. You don't lose money until you sell. But the team is really not focused on that. We care a lot about our valuation. We do so much, but we also care even more about building this business to become $1 billion business. So again, you are all in the right place at the right time with the right leadership, with the right business model, and with the right fundamentals in place that's going to help us propel up to the moon. I'm going to speak like this now, crypto lingo. Let's go to the moon together. Well, we are going to hit the moon. We're going to eventually hit Mars at some point. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And again, we really do appreciate each and every one of you for being on the call. I love that you take charge of your investments and you want to learn and keep continuously inform yourselves on Taboo. As we said, you will be hearing more from us on a bi-weekly basis as well. And I think that it's important for us to be there on the front lines with our community. Besides that, thank you everyone for being here on the call. If you have any other questions, feel free to share them in the main chat or to our moderators and community managers such as Rich, and we'll get to you as soon as we can as well. And until next time, everyone, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. And I'd just like to say, Paul, thank you to yourself, Majid, Rich, for your dedication and hard work. And yeah, onwards and upwards, chaps. And let's just make the most of this position that we're in, because I can almost guarantee, rest assured, it won't be around for long. So let's maximise the potential. Let's keep pushing. And I look forward to getting on a call with you again over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Appreciate everyone's time.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, folks. Thank you.
Thank you.